Today's voiceover talent is more than just a pretty voice.
Pretty voice.
Pretty voice.
Today's voiceover talent has to be a boss.
A boss.
Join us each week for business owner strategies and success with your hosts Anne Ganguzza and Gabrielle Nistico, along with some of the strongest voices in our industry.
Rock your business.
Rock your business.
Rock your business.
Like a boss.
Like a boss.
Rock your business like a boss.
Rock your business like a boss. A VO boss.
A VO boss.
A VO boss.
Welcome, everybody, to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Anne Ganguzza, along with my amazing goal-setting bossy, Gabby Nistico. Hey, Gabby.
Hello.
Gabby, it is 2019. Woohoo!
How did this happen?
I know, right?
How did this how did we get here? I blinked and it's 2019. My God.
It's crazy.
Holy Moses.
Gabby, I got a question for you. So, you know, along with the new year usually comes the dreaded New Year's resolutions or, shall I say, goals.
Yeah.
Do you set goals, Gabby, for every year for your business?
I think I'm a little unconventional in my goal setting. but it comes it comes from a place of knowledge, I guess. I'm not sure how to define it, but yeah, goals are important, but I think that most people set themselves up for failure.
Yeah. And I think that's why people get so discouraged. You know, the biggest, I guess, visual or the biggest thing that I usually hear about is the gyms, right, are always packed the month of January, right? Everybody with their New Year's resolutions. I'm going to go work out every day and lose,
gyms,
20 pounds.
Diets.
Yeah. All those.
Classes of any kind. Like anyone who teaches anything. The early part of the year is when people are like, that's it. This is the year. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn how to do X.
Yep.
Even voiceover coaches, we see like an uptick in business in January.
Yeah. And then by February.
They're gone. Yeah.
What happened to that? I'm going to work out at the gym every 3 days a week or, goodness. So Gabby, I guess let's talk about your goals and how you use them to be successful and not necessarily have them be a measure of, I don't know, not being able to reach or attain a goal or failing, or how do you do it?
Well, I'll show you my goals if you show me yours.
You got it.
Okay. My goals. Okay. First of all, I am very forgiving with myself about monetary goals. Because I sometimes think monetary goals put my head in the wrong place and they stress me out instead of motivating me. So I simply try for a 20% increase.
Okay.
From whatever my numbers were the year before, month to month.
Oh, I like that.
That's what I do. Percentages, not dollar signs. Takes a little pressure off.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But when you convert that percent, though, I mean, it's still $1.
It is.
Are you thinking then maybe just in your head goals, sort of, when you're thinking about it, is that where it makes it easier for you? Because if I had to calculate 20%, then I would actually calculate it and write that number down. That would be me.
Right.
And then I'd still know what that number is. And then if I couldn't achieve that number. But how do you write it down? That's my question.
I do, in the sense that, okay, so I look at the difference as opposed to the total.
Okay.
That's where the focus becomes. The focus is not the big number, because if you look at it from the okay, so if the goal becomes, if the grand total is $10,000, that's like, wow, that's, that's a lot.
Right.
And it can be scary.
So each month I want to make $10,000, and that's a scary figure.
Exactly.
Got it.
So instead I go, what's 20% more than what I made the year prior? It might be $800.
Mm-hmm.
It might be $1,200. It might, you know what I mean? But that number is not so scary to work with.
Mm-hmm. And then divide that into a monthly sort of an assessment.
Bingo.
Oh.
Yeah. Makes life
Gabby,
a little easier.
I like that a lot. Wow. That's so. And what's nice about that is it's not scary at all. The big number's scary.
Yeah, that's why I try not to do it, because I've in years past when I did do that, it would just like eat at you. And I feel like it was always there and it would create so much pressure and I get so nervous about it. Whereas now I'm like, nope, it's not that big.
Wow. I think that's really great. And I think that it's good to start with the monetary goals, because sometimes people won't even think money in terms of goals because they are so afraid of that. And I know for a fact, I mean, the majority of people that I speak with, my students, when I talk to them about goals, money doesn't even enter in the picture. And I think that there's good things and bad things about that. I understand that if you don't want to set yourself up for failure, and so you just don't go there. But I do believe that it's important to set some figure, some sort of an improvement, some sort of an enhancement. And I love the way that you break it down into a difference rather than a total number, because that makes it much more attainable.
To me, I need to start there because I need that money to be able to fund my other goals.
Right. And it's a measure.
They're intrinsically tied.
Right. It's a hardcore measurement of are things improving? Are things growing? I know a lot of people who, like I said, they stay away from the money, but then they'll say something like, well, I want, 20% more. Well, they may not even say 20%. I don't know many people that work in percentages. They're going to say, I want to achieve 3 new clients every month, right? Or 10 new jobs a month, whatever it is. And they'll put a number on that. And I think also that becomes difficult. That is almost a setup, because when you're talking about a volatile industry like ours, if you put like the number of new clients you're going to gain every month, that's tough because it is such a high and low. There are periods there are months that are low months, there are months that are high months. And I think if you maybe take a look at it for that in a yearly or a quarterly kind of a basis, that's also going to be a little more helpful than trying to say, I'm going to acquire 3 new clients this month, or I'm going to acquire 10 new jobs every month.
Yeah. So another thing that's important there is we have to be reasonable with the expectation in relation to whatever we're doing currently or whatever we did the year prior. So I see this a lot, right? People will go, I want to book 2 national campaigns, right? That's their big goal. Okay. Yeah. 2 national commercial campaigns. That's a tall order. Those are big goals. Good for you for, shooting high. But have you done any regional work?
Right.
Have you
local work?
Yeah. You're not going to leap from doing maybe local spots that are paying you under $200 to a national campaign that's going to pay you upwards of $50,000.
Right.
There's a trajectory. There's a middle.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And it's similar. Well, I want to make 6 figures next year. Well, if you've just started, jumping that trajectory could be difficult. And Gabby, how about this? Let's think about this. Instead of saying, I want to acquire, 5 new clients this month or even this quarter, or putting a number on that, what about having goals that start not necessarily with the number of things that you want to get that are higher, but maybe a feeling or an emotion, right? I want to achieve this. I want to achieve a sense of joy from my job. And to do that, what do I need to do? So you come at it in terms of more of an emotion and a satisfaction sort of a level. In order to be joyful at what I do on a daily basis, what do I need to do? What type of work do I need to do? Instead of saying, I'm going to do an animation demo and then do animation work, it might be like, well, you know what? Animation character brings me joy. So perhaps my goal for this year will be to study with a coach, right? And further explore that. And that sense of, I know that this is something that I want to do, and if I'm going to hire a coach to help me to get there, then that is achieving a goal, right? And then ultimately it evolves into maybe another goal, which would be, maybe I'll produce an animation demo. Yeah. And so you reach your goals that way. You kind of work backwards. So you kind of say, here's my goal. I really am interested in this particular genre. In order to get to this particular genre, what are the steps you have to take? Yeah,
for a while, I didn't even put it in terms of dollar signs. There was a period of time where my goal was just stability. Predictability.
Yeah.
It was concepts.
I'm right there with you. Yeah. And as a matter of fact,
that's great.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, that's how I divvied up the growth of my business in terms of what I wanted to do in the past few years. I'd say, okay, what is it that brings me, Gabby, I'm all about the joy, right? What is it that brings me the joy? So I love to teach. So therefore, a certain percentage of my job or my day is going to be teaching. I love to do voiceover in e-learning. I love to do corporate, whatever it is. Therefore, I want to put a percentage of my time that is dedicated to that which brings me that joy. Yeah. And ultimately, I wanted to learn how to produce a podcast, Gabby, and guess what happened? Right? That was 3 years ago.
Right.
And here we are. So I like being able to break it apart with, here's my kind of a bigger goal, which is based on what's going to bring me, I guess, satisfaction, joy, because I certainly don't want to have a goal of misery. Right? Right? So I think if we go that way.
People don't realize that. They don't realize how if the expectation is too high and the goal is too lofty, it will create misery.
Right.
And my thing is just it's that don't skip the middle. Like, okay, people go, all right, well, I want to have X number of new clients in the new year, or, well, but here's the thing. You're skipping this big important step.
Right.
Maybe the goal isn't 10 new clients. How about...
What are you going to do to get those clients?
Right. Every month, I need to introduce myself to 5 new companies.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
That becomes a much more realistic process.
Right. So you still have the goal, but you've broken it down into the steps of what it takes for you to get there. And that's the way I like to do goals. Like you showed me yours, I'm showing you mine. Mine is working backwards. Mine is saying, this is what I'd like to achieve. And, you know, I really love your money one because I'm gonna take that one. I like the percentage a whole lot. I've always had like a firm number in my mind. And it's been difficult because I've been adjusting it, you know, every year. But I really like that. And I'm going to take that same concept with areas of my job that I want to grow, because I don't ever want to necessarily be investing. I mean, I'm not going to say that there are some things that I don't love to do in my job, but most of it I love. I mean, I'm pretty proud of how I've been able to craft my day doing things that I love and the things that I don't love. And we've even had a podcast on this. We've delegated delegated to someone else, because that way it allows me to pursue all those things that make me happy. And ultimately, not just making me happy, but I also have to make sure that this is a career. So therefore, I also have to make money at it. Right.
Right. A lot of what you're talking about is attainability. Mm-hmm. Is it an attainable process? Is it something that I can be accountable for as well?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you set the bar too high, and then, well, you can always come up with external factors.
Oh, sure. Always, right?
We can always blame the fact that we didn't get to the gym because, well, it was really cold that day. And, you know, I ate that cheesecake because, you know.
I hear that.
There's always something. There's always something. And we can blame external. We have to hold ourselves accountable for our goals. But in order to do that, it's realistic, a little bit of tempering, and really breaking down that process of what's it going to take.
Yeah.
What are my actions in this?
Accountability is the other huge factor in terms of how are you going to measure if you're successful, right? You have to be accountable to someone, which is why I think a lot of people who are in business and they talk about goal setting is, you know, write that down. I'm also a fan of writing down your accomplishments. And I used to do it actually on a monthly basis, so that if I had goals, you know, I could write down and see what happened. How was I progressing? And if I achieved something that wasn't on my goal list, well, gosh, that just made me say, wow, that's awesome. So that helped me to either set another goal, or it allowed me the relief of not blaming myself for not achieving what I had wanted to reach in that goal, and say, well, no, I didn't make this goal, but I certainly made this goal. And then as a result, another good thing happened. And so therefore I could kind of manipulate and craft my goals as I went along on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
For me, a month works.
I love it.
I'll do a daily kind of a to-do goal list, but usually that, and then I will reassess at the end of the month. And I do think that if you write down a list of achievements at the end of the month, it really helps you to see where your time has been spent and what good things came out of it, versus always beating yourself up because you didn't make the goal.
Yeah. Truthfully, there's a little bit of self-compassion in that needs to be practiced, and self-care. Look, some days, hey, a win was putting on pants. other days, you conquered something magnificent and you really, had your whole being into it. And that's great. But sometimes,
Yeah.
we need to forgive ourselves. We can't beat ourselves up because today wasn't a great day. Well, guess what? Tomorrow will be.
And I think that's why a month works for me, because I'm not assessing it every second of every day, but I am assessing it. And that's important. You do need, because if you set a goal, it's kind of like when I tell my students when I'm directing, when they set the scene and then they leave it there. And you never enter back into the scene when you're doing the read. So, right? You need to be able to set your goals, go back and take a look at what you set and see how it went, right?
That's really great.
Right? You have to be able to, give yourself some cred, for making it through the month and still being in business. Absolutely. There's always that. And I do believe there's a little bit of healthy stimulation and challenge from yourself helps. And if not, I would say join an accountability group too.
Those are good.
Yep.
A little intimidating, but they work. They're really great.
They do, because you have to assess. Like if you said, I would like to do this, within the next month, I want to start. I want to create a website, or I want to improve my website, or I'm going to write a bio, like things like that. I think those are good goals to have. Let's just write a better bio, or let's learn about character development, or let's learn about a particular genre of the industry that you're interested in and investigate. Those, I think, are attainable goals and will not set you up for failure.
All right, there, goal diggers. So you got your marching orders, right? It's 2019. Get out there, go forth, and conquer, and hopefully take the bosses with you.
Absolutely. Guys, you have an amazing start to your 2019, and we will see you next week.
We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL, who helps Anne and I reach our goals, because without them, I'm not sure where we'd be. That would kind of suck.
Yeah, it would. We love our IPDTL. And guys, for all things boss, make sure you check out our website, voboss.com, and don't forget to subscribe and like and love and follow in all of the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, Stitcher, Google Play, Alexa, we're there.
You can't escape us. Resistance is futile.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your hosts, Anne Ganguzza and Gabby Nistico. All rights reserved. Anne Ganguzza voice talent in association with 3 Moon Media. Redistribution with permission. Coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.
All right, beautiful. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm all yours. Oh my God, Mouse, why do you hate me? My wireless mouse is dead. My mousey died.
Welcome to the VO Boss podcast. I'm your host. I don't like that. No. I don't like that pitch. Hey.
Alrighty. The kitchen. Oh my God, that place.
Where's that?
Okay.
Where's
sorry,
the kitchen, Gabby?
I
Gabby! Gabby!
know.
Where's the kitchen? Like, I'm practicing my off-mic technique. Gabby!
You're so funny.
If I sit anywhere, like, for a period of time where I'm not moving...
You're going to fall asleep.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it happens every night on the couch.
This is your cat making up for the sleepless nights you would have had if you were, a parent to a small human.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
So, yeah.
He's
fulfilling that. So we have 20 minutes. We need to roll. We got to do this.
All right, let's roll. What are we talking about again?
I have clients that are driving me insane. Everybody's doing that whole, I need this ASAP. And I'm like, yeah, okay, go yourself.
It's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
They don't get ASAP from you at 6 o'clock.
Call.
Check. Siblings.
Check. Siblings. Check 1, 2.
Check.
This should be better.
Siblings.
Do you know where your siblings is?
Siblings. Check.
Don't act so
Do you know where your siblings is?
I got my siblings right here. Yeah, and we edit, so it's all good. We can just run free with ourselves and
okay. Running free with myself. I think that's how Danny got arrested. Good. The running free.
That's right. He ran free. Okay, so I just drank like a whole bunch, so I'm gonna try not to
some siblings?
Belch into the microphone.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. I
Were you drinking beer? What
no, I was drinking that shake. That shake when I shake drinking
were
that
shaking?
shake. When you
Did
whir
your
it up,
siblings fall
when you
off?
whir it up, when you whir up the shake in the blender, it gets like bubbles in it, and and so sometimes it gives me
Why do I get the feeling that was
when I
put
put
to
it-
a TMI moment or something?
when I put it into the when I put it into the food processor, like it gets
thought it
really
was in the
airy.
blender.
It gets really airy, and it's just
Look, since we started, okay, I'm about halfway through 8 shots of espresso. So
Ooh, look at
we
you.
got to start this party because I'm going to be bouncing off these walls pretty
Let's
soon.
do it. Let's do it. Okay. All right, here we go. Gerald, it has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, now she ends. You see, this is how you end the podcast. Like, you ask a question like that. It's like, hey, it was nice talking to you, man.
Gerald, that's it. It was great. Gabby will edit that out.